Good morning, guys. Hey, I had through our anti-aging and longevity intensive course program that we're going through right now with 10 participants. This particular concept came up, so I thought it would be an awesome opportunity to do a live training course and post it here for you guys so you can know, because it really is fascinating. So I want you to check this out. All right, so here we go. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this, but this is such an amazing pathway that really everybody would benefit from understanding, okay? So let me dig into this a little bit more. So you can kind of see at the top is vitamin B5, okay? That's pantothenic acid, okay? That's absolutely needed for the synthesis of acetyl-CoA, which is used for metabolizing fatty acids, okay, in the body. It's used for synthesizing metabolic proteins, fats, and carbs. So with all of that said, what I'm really saying here is this is the pathway for all the steroidal or sex hormones in the body, okay? So in order to have an effective production of particular hormones, let's say progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, or even cortisol, okay, in the body, you need a pantothenic acid to be optimized in the body, okay? It's vitamin B5. All right, the next part of that is acetyl-CoA, okay? Then that's synthesized down into cholesterol, that's right, and then circulating LDLs. And so, cholesterol kind of gets a bad name for many people, but you need cholesterol in the body, especially for the production of hormones. So, of course, you don't want too much LDL or VLDL because it can block or clog up the arteries. And I've done a few videos on that, so I'd encourage you to go check that out. I won't drain that here. But it's absolutely needed in the body, okay? But watch as you go down the path, okay? So that goes from circulating LDLs to pregnenolone, okay? Then that goes to progesterone, and then down to cortisol, and then pregnenolone also goes down to DHEA, which is a precursor for testosterone and estrogen in the body, okay? So a lot of times when we have clients that are showing low markers of testosterone or estrogen or progesterone, we will recommend a DHEA boosting diet or maybe a supplement or other things that increase DHEA levels in the body, okay? So what I really want to call out here, so this is the key part of this particular live training, is in order for all of this to work, not only do you have to have optimized vitamin B5 levels in the body, but you have to manage your stress levels. That's right. So let me explain this, okay? So this is called what's called the pregnenolone steal or the cortisol curve steal or the cortisol steal. So in other words, if you are in a high stress state all the time, your hormone pathway will automatically shoot over to progesterone and then to cortisol all day long, okay? In other words, it's not going to spend as much time going through the other pathways, which is pregnenolone to DHEA to estrogen, pregnenolone to DHEA to testosterone, okay? So think about that. Like, have you ever had these moments where you went through extreme stressors in your life? Let's call it a life event. Maybe you lost a loved one. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe your job is stressful. Like maybe even it was a happy moment where you had a birth of a child, but it was kind of a little bit overwhelming at first. Just think back to like when you were really stressed out. How did you feel, right? Did you feel like you had the right energy? Because a lot of these hormones actually help with an uptick in metabolism, right? Or helping you feel energized, okay? And so if you were waking up feeling fatigued, maybe you saw like some excess belly fat buildup, right? That could have been because of this pathway, right? Everything was shooting over towards cortisol and you weren't giving any attention to testosterone or estrogen, okay? And so sometimes when we talk with clients, even if you're somebody that works out and eats like the best diet that you know is good for you, and you're still waking up fatigued, maybe you're seeing a little bit of weight gain, which you don't understand, it absolutely could be related to high cortisol, okay, and a steal of this pathway. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention. I've done several videos on stress management. I encourage you to check that out. But just kind of picture that in your mind, like what happens when you're severely stressed out and how it basically takes away from many of your steroidal or sex hormones. So I hope that was interesting. I hope it was understanding. Maybe as a key takeaway, you understand that you need vitamin B5 for kickstarting of this process. You need normal, optimized levels of cholesterol in the body, and you need stress management under a key. Okay, so before I leave, I want to at least say, of course, you can always supplement with like a vitamin B complex that has like B5, B2, B12, B6. But I always want to lead with food, right? So here are some top foods that are vitamin B5 nutrient rich in, okay? So we have organ meats, if you're in for that, right? Liver and kidney, beef, chicken breast, mushrooms, avocados, nuts and seeds, okay? Dairy, if you're asking me, I'd recommend a good sourced dairy, like coming from a trusted source, a farmer you trust, how they raise the cattle, how the dairy is processed. So those are key. A good sourced yogurt can be a good source of vitamin B5. Certain types of potatoes. My favorite is purple sweet potatoes. It's amazing. It's got, the purple color really is what gives you those phytonutrients that you need. Okay. Eggs, and again, a good source, pasture raised. Find a farmer that raises their chickens, grazing the land. They're eating bugs and everything. They're eating plants. You're getting the nutrients, right? So pasture raised. Brown rice can actually be a good source of that. Good source, oats. Again, I would be cautious on the type of oats because oats are heavily sprayed in glyphosate, depending on the brand. So, organic when you can, or no trusted source. And then another one is broccoli, okay? And you could choose to eat the broccoli itself, maybe even broccoli sprouts, but those are some examples. So consider that, especially if you're trying to work on your hormones or you're aware of deficiencies in them, you're trying to manage your stress. But I hope that was interesting and helpful, and have an excellent, excellent weekend.